Guys, our next presenter is a really good friend of mine, somebody that does some work for my companies, that works with a lot of people in this room, that works with a lot of the top investors in the country. He is a content animal. This guy knows how to create content, how to repurpose content, how to push it out everywhere on all the different platforms, and understands the right way to do that. He pushes out, him and his team, Color Media, push out over 1,200 pieces of content per week. Raise your hand if you have got that beat. Yeah, Nick, no, you do not. You don't push out one a week. You need Josh Color, right? Okay, let me say that again, 1,200 pieces of content per week. A lot of the people he works with, like I said, are some of the top investors, but just because you're good at something, right, just because you're good at doing something doesn't mean you're great at communicating that in a way that really translates to your audience, right? Maybe you're great at flipping houses. Maybe you're great at, notes, or maybe you're great at some other sector in real estate. But being great at that and being great at pulling that out and bullet pointing it and putting it into an actionable format so that it actually means something to your students, completely different skill, right? And it's a skill a lot of us don't have, quite frankly. So that's where this guy comes in. So he is awesome. He has been a real giver in this group, in the Family Mastermind. Please put your hands together for Mr. Josh Color. You're the man, buddy.
I think I need a presentation clicker, so if somebody can run that up to me, that'd be awesome. I don't know where it's at. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Okay, cool.
Big green button. Yeah, buddy.
All right, awesome, man. It's an honor and privilege to be here. I appreciate Matt having me here to speak to you guys and drop some value. So if I could be real with you, I am extremely nervous. This is by far the biggest crowd I've ever spoke to. I am not a professional speaker. The people that I serve are, however. So me and my company, we help get that voice out there. So when Joe McCall says that he was nervous, Joe McCall has no idea who I am. That kind of gave me a pass to be nervous. So I'm okay with that. Does anybody have a $100 bill? I got friends out there. We need to bring them inside. Anyway, so I'm going to focus on presenting as much value to you guys as possible. I don't have any crazy stories. I don't have any awesome speaking techniques and whatnot. I'm just going to try to drop as much value as I possibly can on you. So Matt actually brought a very interesting concept to me when he was asking me to speak. He said, what if you brought some kind of a demo to the group and showed them kind of how you do what you do? I said, okay, cool. So I'm going to actually walk you guys through how we can take one 42-minute podcast episode and chop that out into 47 pieces of content. So I'm not going to be up here editing video or audio or creating graphics where you already have that done, but I'm going to show you the possibilities of what you can do. So I'll jump into it. I'm not going to take too much time to introduce myself. If you guys want to connect, I'm more than happy to connect with you. It's in the Facebook group, right, Matt? Facebook, Matt Andrews, Facebook group, right, for contact info? Yes. Okay, so he told me to say that. So, yeah. So we've been hearing that all week. Anyway, so let me go ahead and jump into it. These are some of the absolute rock stars that we work with. A lot of people in this room that are on that list, and I just have like a huge gratefulness to be a part of some of these guys in their lives and be able to get their voice on the stage. And this is not a brag. This is, the fact that I get to work with these people is absolutely incredible. So if you're not like following these influencers and what they're doing, you're missing out big time. A lot of these guys have absolutely incredible messages to get out to the world. I do actually got to add Dave Parrish and RJ to that. Dave, shout out, man. We'll make it happen. Let's do it. I was out there with Dave on Saturday. All right, cool. All right, so we're going to get into it. So again, I'm not going to be up here editing videos or doing graphics or anything like that, so don't worry about that. We're going to walk through this pretty quickly, but I've got 30 minutes. Actually, I'm going to set my watch here because I want to make sure I've got some time to get through it. So, not sure what happened to my slide there. Let me go back. If we could go back to that previous slide, that would be awesome. So sorry about the formatting. I did this in Google Slides, and I think they're using Keynote, so that's my fault. But the content marketing. Who in here is putting out some form of content? Yeah, a lot of you guys are. So when it comes down to it, the pure definition for content marketing is answering the questions that your target audience has about your services, your products, or your industry. So that's literally what it boils down to. So if, Joe McCall has a podcast, he's literally on that podcast, and literally for the sum of it is almost answering questions that somebody in his target demographic has about his industry or what he does. And that's really where the podcast topics come from, right? So that's essentially what it is. So I don't care if you're an influencer, I don't care if you're a service provider in any way, shape, or form, content marketing is answering those questions for people. And why is this important for you to know? Well, let me see here. Yeah, so when it comes down to it, content marketing, I think my slides got mixed up a little bit. But when it comes down to it, content marketing, what I'm going to show you guys today of juicing out the content is efficiency, which we're all about because we're business owners. It's more of your time back without slacking on content. I'm going to really show you how you can take one podcast episode and dice that up into almost 50 pieces of content. I actually stopped at 47 because we could have gone even further. And then I'm just going to show you the possibilities of what you could do with content. And some people have been up here talking about products. Joe McCall is up here talking about products and how you can create products on a consistent basis. Well, a lot of the content you were putting out could actually be some form of a product. So keep that in mind. So here's a really good quote by Donald Miller. If you guys haven't read StoryBrand, it's a good book, but this comes from him. So it says, people don't buy the best products or services, they buy the product or services that they understand the fastest. Now, when it comes down to it, a lot of times, why do you do webinars and then sell them on the back end? Because the webinar is teaching them the principles and the things that they need to know in order to go into that product or service. So that is a pure example of why this statement right here is true. And you can do that essentially with content marketing. Content marketing is a marathon. It's definitely not a sprint. Advertising is a sprint. You could put out a Facebook ad directly related to a product or service and have somebody convert immediately. And you got to spend money on that. And obviously content marketing, you're going to put some money behind that to fuel it. But at the end of the day, content marketing, especially like if you have a podcast, Matt Terrio's not in the room, but he's been doing podcasting for a very long time. And I was talking with him at lunch yesterday, and he said, for the first 4 or 5 years, I felt like I was like literally speaking on deaf ears. Like there was nobody that was listening to my show. And now he's one of the biggest shows when it comes to real estate podcasts. So it takes a long time to get that traction, but at the end of the day, the reason it's important is because you're building a really strong community with those people, because you're taking the time to actually do it. So here's some importances of putting out content as an influencer, but I should also add as a service provider as well. Content is your voice. That's how you get it out there. So right now, with me speaking where I'm at right now, I'm putting out content. So what's coming out of my mouth is content. I could literally take this recording and chop this up and then put that out to the world with some of these nuggets that I'm leaving in here. But content is your voice. That's how you get out there. Ron LeGrand, again, so a lot of the people I look up to learned from him. I'm a young guy, I'm 27 years old, and that's just so I've never really heard of Ron LeGrand before I got with some of the people that I look up to and mentor me. But some of the cassette tapes that he put out, that was his form of getting content out, and that was his voice. So a lot of you guys consume those cassette tapes. I've seen a cassette tape, and I don't even know how to use it. But that was the medium he chose because that was available at the time. And obviously, that voice can be spread out in any way, shape, or form.
Let's not talk about 8-tracks.
8-tracks, yeah. I barely remember VHS tapes. So man, yeah, we're going back now. And it's the best brand builder. Obviously, when it comes down to it, if you are answering those questions that your target demographic has about whatever it is you're doing or the industry, you're building authority and credibility with them. A lot of times you could put out this product, but if somebody goes to check you out and see, what is this guy all about? What does he know? If he's going to your Facebook page or going to your LinkedIn profile or going to your website, do you have content out there to actually show your authority and credibility? That's what it provides. And it's the top of the funnel. Essentially, content marketing goes all the way down to the bottom of the funnel, obviously. But kind of a lot of what we do, the organic content marketing, is that top of the funnel. Essentially, it's what introduces people to your actual funnel. And a lot of times I like to look at it as a value ladder. So you have a ladder that's actually leaned up against the funnel, and that's how people actually jump into the funnel, is going up that content ladder. So they subscribe to your podcast, they take action on the podcast, and they're in your funnel. And it curates and builds strong trust with your audience. And again, one of the biggest reasons You know, you may have a podcast out there or a YouTube channel or whatever it is, whatever type of content you're putting out, is because you want to build that strong trust with your audience, because they're so much easier to convert than a cold audience. So somebody that's already listening to your podcast, they're a warm audience for you, and it's easier to pull them in. So here's what we're going to cover. So this is where I'm going to get into it a little bit. I'm actually doing really good on time, so that's good. We might have some time for Q&A at the end. I'll try to make that happen. So if you guys have any questions about content marketing, start thinking about it, and hopefully we can take a couple. So here's what we're going to cover in this kind of segment is the repurposing process. This is literally what my team does on a daily basis. And then the types of content, some of the possibilities. Obviously, like what I'm putting out here, this is kind of just really the skimming the surface. And there's tons of other forms of content that you can put out. But I'm going to show you just a few of them, and then the implementation part of it. So we're going to take this podcast. So we have the honor and privilege to be able to produce the Real Estate Influencer podcast. So these logos that you see up here, these banners, these are for that podcast. So if you're not listening to the Real Estate Influencer podcast, go subscribe and leave a review. Shameless plug there. But we get the honor of producing that. So we're going to take this podcast episode with Patch. So this episode went out last month, and he talked about scalability and business development for education companies. So this is our demo. We're going to use this episode that's exactly 42 minutes long, 42 minutes and 16 seconds or something like that, and we're going to juice out 50 or 47 pieces of content. So I just want to show you the possibilities and like the fact that you don't have to record daily videos to get daily content going out. So we're going to count them down. I got them numbered, okay? So number one, a full podcast episode. This is obvious. We're going to take the audio. We're going to shoot it out to Libsyn. Libsyn's going to syndicate it to all the podcast platforms for us. Number one, right? Number two, we're going to take it and put the video on YouTube. So the full YouTube video is up there. And it's actually 42 minutes and 21 seconds. So I got 4 extra seconds to be able to juice out more content. But that's what we're going to do. So number two is the full video. So that's pretty simple, right? That's reasonable. You're going to take the Zoom, add a little title to that, and then put it on there. Now we're going to take it and put, this should be 3 and 4, but I didn't want to cheat, so I use the same video on both of these platforms. So we're going to take that full video, put the full video on Facebook, we're going to put the full video on LinkedIn. Micro videos. This is a lot of fun because you can juice out so much content. You can do so much with these little videos and put them out across every platform. So you could put them on Instagram. And when I say every platform, I do mean the platforms that your target demographic is active on. Okay? So if your target demographic is residential assisted living, wherever my boy Gene is, you're probably not going to put stuff on TikTok, okay? Because that's not where your target demographic is. But if your target demographic is on TikTok, then go there. Anyway, so we're going to do this. So we've got several videos here. So 4 through 11, content number 4 through 11 is these videos. And they're all just, different videos about different things. So you got, a vertical video that may go on IGTV or Facebook. That's how education companies need to build their businesses. You got one that's a square video under 60 seconds. That's do you standardize your systems with Matt talking. So these are just really just little nuggets that you snip out of the podcast episode and push those out. Quote cards. So this is a great one. Quote cards. We're just taking some graphic images and taking quotes. Literally, I have a copywriter that goes in and consumes the content. She takes little quotes and snippets out of the episodes, and then we create graphics with those quotes. And this is a great way to do that. So we're counting down 12 through 19. So I didn't want to cheat because, I could literally get with just between the micro videos and the quotes, I could literally get to like 50. So we're going to, not cheat on that one. Number 20, the transcription. So we haven't cleaned this transcription up yet, but this is just showing you, we use Temi.com, T-E-M-I. They're actually, a lot of people use Rev.com. Rev's great. The Temi actually is owned by Rev, and it's 25 cents a minute with 4-minute turnaround times instead of 4 hours, and $1.25 with Rev. So that's a little bit of a nugget for you. But the accuracy is the same. They use the same APIs and everything. Just a little ninja trick. So the transcription, that's a piece of content. So we're going to take that transcription, put that on the podcast page, and it's going to, that's specifically for SEO purposes. We're not like trying to get somebody to read the entire transcription. We're going to clean it up. I'm going to have a writer go and clean it up just a little bit, and then we're going to put that on the actual website with that podcast episode. So that's piece of content number 20. All right, 21 through 24, we've got mini articles. So in this specific episode, Matt and Patch go into I don't know, 7 or 8 different topics that kind of segue into each other. So we're taking each one of those articles. Again, don't read those because we didn't clean those up, but you guys get the picture here. So we literally took some of these topics that they're talking about. We got them cleaned up in a written form, so not just the transcription. We actually moved the words around, restructured the sentences, made sure grammar was correct. We had a writer go in and rewrite this, but that's what we did. And now you've got 5 articles that you can distribute on your website. You got 5 articles you can distribute to Facebook, to LinkedIn, and Medium, wherever else you can put articles and blogs. Show notes. So show notes are great, because, especially with podcasts, because you're going to use show notes basically, again, for SEO purposes, and there's a lot of other functions for it. But it's an easy place to be able to park any of your affiliate links, any of your resources that you mention in your episodes. You're going to put, milestones of the episodes, and that's basically just talking points, the section of what they talk about. And then quotes from the episode. Again, we can repurpose those into quote cards and whatever else we want. So that's show notes. Number 26. All right, 27 through 28. I give you guys a minute to read these memes. So does anybody get the one with Patch? Has anybody been on this call with Patch and really thought that that background was his real background? I actually complimented him on it, and he's just like, thanks, man. So I don't know if he thought I was joking or what, but yeah, but anyway, so that, if you can't read that, that says when your Zoom skills are at 100 because everyone thinks your background is real. And then Matt said, does being bald make you badass? And then he's just sitting there mean mugging the camera, right? So these are memes. And the cool thing about memes that you pull out of any content is because it's relevant, right? So when I asked you, did you guys really think that Patch's background was real? A bunch of people raised their hand. That was relevant. That was relevant content that I could put out. And that builds a really strong bond and relationship with your audience. So that's 27, 28. Doing good on time, man. All right. Written statuses. So you can distribute these to LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, just about anywhere that it actually takes written statuses. Again, these can just be in a form of a question. So you see that one on Facebook is Facebook ads crushing it for you? Patch and I talked about it on this show today. Now that's really shallow. You might want to go a little deeper, but it's still a form of content to push people back to the episode, which I want to park here for just a second because this is a great opportunity for you to be able to link in the comments the call to action that you want them to take. So what I like to tell people with this micro content is this isn't just social media management that we do. That's not the purpose of it. You can ask anybody that I work with, we ask, what are your goals for your content? Well, all the content we're building is built around to get people dropped into the top of the funnel and drive them to the bottom. So you can look at each and every one of these pieces of micro content as individual call to actions to be able to push people into your funnel and get them to where you want them to be to convert. All right, so 33 through 35. I know quite a few podcasts that do this extremely well, where they'll actually take little snippets out of that show and redistribute those, 4 or 5 months down the road, and it's fresh content. Now here's the thing, I have a lot of people that say, well, if you're just redistributing it on the same platform, people are gonna call you out on that because you're just being lazy and redistributing content, right? But here's the thing. Thanks, that was good timing, yeah. So here's the thing, is that with human beings, they remember one of two things. They remember being impacted negatively or positively. If they were impacted by your content negatively, well, they probably unsubscribed, you're not gonna hear from them again. But if they remember scaling your marketing in that segment of the podcast and it was positive to them, well, if you redistribute that and hit them again, then it's just gonna reinforce that positive feeling that they got out of it and allow them to even take further action. So this is 33 through 35. All right, GIFs. So we'll use this GIF on something. I don't even remember what Matt was talking about, but I would say a good comment would be if somebody, you don't have anything to say, just put that in the GIF. Yeah. So I just found the weirdest face between Patch and Matt, and this one went out. So anyway, so this is a GIF, right? So this is something that you can comment on. You can use it. You can literally put this in. You could slap the logo on there, and then you could actually feed this to Facebook's GIFs for people to be able to use. So maybe I'll throw that in there so you guys could use it in the family reunion Facebook group. All right, number 37. Email newsletters. So why not take that episode and allow people to actually, give them the call to action to go watch the actual episode, but then being able to actually put in there some good copy, some good value nuggets. Now this email is a little bit shallow because I was just trying to get it in there. But then at the bottom there, when you have the call to action, I know I have watched the video here, but what Joe talked about today, like this is a great opportunity to be able to push them to some sort of a product. So now you need to build the email specifically to that. But email newsletter, that's another form of content that you can put out with this. Instagram Reels, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. Now all three of those platforms are all the same format. So if you're on any number of these, if you're not familiar with YouTube Shorts, this is a brand new thing that they've introduced within the last month. So basically YouTube's this kind of thing where they like try to jump in at the last minute and take advantage of what other platforms are doing. But this is basically what you can do. Little 15-second clips, little 15-second videos that you're able to just plug in there and allow people to engage with in a different manner. For instance, you may ask, why do you want to do this? Well, like with Instagram Reels, as soon as he got, whiff of TikTok getting banned from the US, Instagram Reels is like, hey, we're going to launch that next day. And then they started pushing Instagram Reel videos really hard in the algorithms. And my clients, I literally emailed them and said, I want you to put out 3 Instagram Reel videos every single week. And those are getting the best traction right now because Instagram's pushing those really hard. That's just a little nugget. All right, so that's 38 through 40. The next one is an ebook. Hey, why not write an ebook? So literally just put an ebook together, and that could be a lead hook. You guys are familiar with ebooks, so I'm not going to go into that. But literally take that episode, have a writer rewrite this, and I'll talk about something even bigger than that here at the end. But you can literally take that and create an ebook as a lead hook in order to get people into your funnel. Number 42, short online course. You have the video, and you can even chop it into little segments of each topic that you talked about, and then maybe slap on an intro video, like Matt sitting on the intro video saying, all right guys, in segment number 2, we're going to be talking about X, Y, and Z, and then create that as a little online course. And again, guys, like all this stuff is lead hooks. All of these are hooks to be able to get people into your funnel and then drive them to the bottom to convert. 43 for 44, we're almost done. All right, so these are trivias and polls. So a lot of this works really well on specific platforms, but on the right there you have Instagram story that you could put this on. So literally, just a little bit of a question there that says, did you hear this episode? And then at the bottom there, like people are actually able to respond to that and say, the question here is what roadblocks are causing you to not scale? And people can literally type in that. And a lot of people, like, who here loves their opinions? Nobody loves their opinions. Oh my goodness. Wow. Our world's turning around. I love my opinions, right? So people love to actually get their opinions out there. Or their thoughts and comments, right? That's why a lot of times when somebody posts something on Facebook that is opposing to their belief, they're gonna chime in on that. So you can even put prodding questions in there just to get a conversation started. And that conversation's really centered around the podcast episode. 45 through 46, this is a little bit fun. This isn't going to work for everybody, right? So Ron LeGrand back there, we're probably not going to throw a comic strip on him because it just may not work. It's not his target demographic. But this is a really good way to get something out a little bit more fun. And we all know Matt, he's a nerd. Like when I was looking through pictures to use for these graphics, I saw him sitting at the Tampa Comic-Con. So we have tons of stuff to be able to use for this. But and Patch has got a microphone, and when I was going through his Facebook, I realized that he might be some sort of a musician, I guess. So that's cool. But he's got pictures of him with microphones and playing guitars and stuff like that. But anyway, so this is just a really good piece of that. And then, again, you're just pushing people back to it. So the last piece of content, so we're at the end, 47, right? So this is 47 pieces of content out of 1 pillar content. So a paperback book, like this is a great idea. And this is why I brought that up at the end here when Tucker Max is in here. And he's absolutely right. This doesn't take 30 minutes to create, guys. So you're not going to be able to call me out for that. It takes a long time. You definitely want it done right. Like he said, you want to have somebody go in there and rewrite. Basically what you're going to do is take the transcription, get it cleaned up by a writer, and then have an actual writer that does books reorganize that content, put it into a book form. But something that may be just a little bit of a booklet type thing like this for an individual episode, hey, it'll work well because then you can mail that to people physically and they have something that they can put on their desk. Like Max Keller likes to say, they're not going to throw a book away, right? So here's a really prime example of what I'm doing. So I've had many people on my podcast that are in this room. So I have a podcast called the REI Marketing Weekly, which I'll show that slide up here in just a second. But I'm doing this, right? So I literally have taken, I'm going to do this on an annual basis as my lead hook. So I'm literally taking the first 50 episodes of my podcast that I had, got them transcribed, got them cleaned up, had a writer organize the content into specific topics about real estate investing marketing, and it's going out as a book. So this is going to be published next month. And I left the website there in case you guys want to pre-order it. You could just go to that website and actually pre-order that. But this is what I'm using. So it does work, and it did take about 9 months to complete this project. It took a long time. But here's the awesome thing. It required very little of my time to do this. It really, because I didn't do any writing, the writer took what I said in the podcast transcription and cleaned that up. So it works. It's a really good idea for some of you that have podcasts and be able to, get a lot out of it, a lot of mileage out of it. So why does this matter? I'll show this one more time. Because people don't buy the best products or services, they buy the products and services they understand the fastest. And with this method of content marketing, you are able to get on a rapid pace people to really truly understand what it is you do, what coaching programs you have, what services you provide, and you can do that all with this because content marketing is your voice. And these are my podcasts. I got the REI Marketing Weekly. I've got the Content Marketing Playbook. So on the REI Marketing Weekly, we only talk about marketing. So if anybody in here is interested in being on that podcast, I'll show my email address here in a second. I would love to have anybody that's in this room on that show. And then the Content Marketing Playbook, all I talk about is content. Do we have 5 or 10 minutes for, I think I got a little early done, right? Take 5 minutes. Does anybody have any questions? That's my email address. Hit me up if you guys have anything. But does anybody have any questions? Please don't hesitate to ask. If I don't know the answer, I will say I don't know the answer and send you to somebody that does.
All right.
So I know we can contact you about your services, and I plan on doing that. But like some of the specific things you showed, like the comic strips, like are you the one actually getting all that stuff done for the guys, or are they going out and getting those pieces and giving them to you?
Yeah, so for instance, like with Gabe DeSilva here, he shoots his own videos on his own. Like he has content out there. He knows how to hit record on Zoom and then stop record on Zoom and then put that into Google Drive unproduced. And so we'll take that, produce that up. And then with the micro content, my team is very well trained. I should have said this at the beginning, but I've been in the real estate industry for 8 years. I've been a part of over 1,000 deals as a marketing director. So I know this industry extremely well and what coaches and mentors look for, and I've trained my team on that as well. So they're gonna go find, like Robert Nichols, he sent me about 20 videos that he's gonna have my team go in and look for that relevant content to chop it out. So yes, it's a white glove, like it's all the way through, so.
Questions?
Who's next? What do we got? I think Rob Nickel has a mic.
Yeah, I just took all the stuff I'd done, Edwin, the last, I guess, 12 months, all the shows of other people's podcasts that I've been on, and I just had my team call them and ask permission to be able to repurpose that, send it to Josh. He took, I talk for 42 minutes and say 3 good things, really. I've got like 4 minutes of good content, every single time. And so Josh takes it, and I now have 4 clips from my 42 minutes that people might, and it's allowing us what I call that like core mid-level content that people actually care about. So instead of having my team go through that process, it was very super affordable. I just took all of our stuff. He's coming back, and now our marketing team is gonna be able to distribute that because we just want to fit in our schedule, but he can do all of that for you as well.
Okay, next.
Check. First of all, I love what you're doing. This is awesome. This is a lot of work and a lot of strategy. Like I have a marketing company and I have teams doing this, and it's a lot of work. So do you do the content creation as well as distribution scheduling on all the platforms?
Yeah. So it's like I said, it's a white glove service. It's everything. So with Gabe, we'll sit down with him, create that content marketing plan for him, and then I'm literally the content director for Gabe DeSilva, right? And for Mike Hambright, for Jerry Green, for Gene Garino. And so I'm telling you what platforms to go on in accordance with your target demographic and the goals that you're trying to achieve. And then we create the content, we do all the copywriting. I got a copywriter on my team, and we do all the distribution.
So you'll do not only the content, you'll actually do the post that's going in there. Yeah. Do you do long form copy as well?
Yeah, so like so it depends, right? So I don't have somebody on my team that's able to like ghostwrite for you per se. We could, connect you with somebody like that. Most of the content is either graphic or video based or podcast based. But when it comes to the writing of like the post descriptions, my copywriter is extremely trained in that niche there too.
And anything like offer related, or is it just like just
anything.
content to keep you active?
Anything. Yeah, the phrase content marketing has the word marketing in it for a reason. For us, I know a lot of people look at this as like just social media management to get exposure. Exposure doesn't make you money. Like it can lead to that. It can be a byproduct of that. But a lot of what we do is to drive traffic into your funnel to get people to convert.
And so how many pieces of content on average are you making per week?
We're
for one client. Like if I
for one client.
Do you have different packages?
It depends. Yeah, it's all wrapped around like what your needs are. So we have some people that we're doing one piece a day. We have like my camera, who's a monster, and we're doing like 5 or 6 a day. RL Academy for Gene, we're doing 5 pieces a day. Some people we're doing 2. So
okay, sweet.
Yeah, it's built around what your needs are.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Jerry Green.
Oh, my mic's hot. Is your hot?
Hello?
There you go.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I've been working with Josh for a while now, and he's done a tremendous job for us. And pushing the content out that I never would have done on my own. And it just, the consistency is obviously very important, that side of things. I love it that he just takes what we record, because we're recording every couple months and producing a lot of videos. And even next week, he's coming in doing a bunch of filming for me in Nashville and for an event I'm doing, and we'll take that and repurpose that all over again. So,
yeah.
But I love it because it just takes some of that big component off of myself and my team. So that's just wanted to share that. So
I'll be quick. So right here, hi, how are you? So do you do, we have a bunch of partners and people, clients outside of the real estate space, real estate investing space. Are you like agnostic to industry, or are you really trying to stay in the real estate investment space?
It's a conversation I need to have with my mentors. Right now, so Matt, we probably have a conversation, but right now we only work with real estate, people that are in the real estate investing industry, whether they're an active investor or an influencer themselves. So not close to it, but that's what it is right now. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. Hopefully I brought you some value. One more? Oh, wait, one more.
Do you work only with like podcasts, or can you do like webinars?
Anything that's like a pillar content form. So webinars, videos, podcasts.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate you.